So let me introduce Shivang. You have heard him already. He have introduced a little piece of his knowledge already at table 6, was it? 5. Shivang from Freshworks. AI-driven customer service future, we could have guessed now. So this is his view on it. We're happy to have you. The stage is yours. And I think music is now really needed. We haven't had music today, really. Oh, here's, yes, Shivang, to you.
Can you guys hear me? Yes. Perfect. Well, thank you. Thank you for having me here today. Feels great to share a space with such amazing brands. We've got Philips, Heineken, a brand that I got familiar with very early, and a brand I couldn't wait to get familiar with. So really, really nice to be here. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Shivang Garg. I'm representing here on behalf of Freshworks. I manage the solutions engineering team, and I've been in and around the CX industry for 7 years. I started off in the field teams of United States, and then moved to Middle East and Africa, which is poles and pillars apart, from late-stage adapters to early adapters. And then in the start of 2020, I moved to Berlin. And just a few months ago, I moved to Netherlands. So I have promised my marketing team that the next time I do a presentation, it'll be in Dutch. But please bear with me until then. The topic of discussion today, and I think there was such nuggets of information during our discussion. Is AI good? Is it a boon? Is it too early? What's going to happen? I'm here just to contribute, right? Some of you might see some solutions, but my objective today is to increase, if you're not already curious, just feed into that curiosity. The diaspora of AI right now is like a bell curve. We have early adopters, we have people in the middle, and then you've got these late-stage adopters. And that's fine. It's fine. The idea is to be curious, and I want to make that case with you today. So talking about the future of customer experience and the role AI will play in it, we've got to start by addressing the present, right? And today, the present is a period of uncertainty. I think the panel discussions captured that very well. It is the post-pandemic world, but I would argue that it's not the first time that the businesses, business owners, leaders, all of us, this is not the first time we've been in this predicament, right? Businesses that are jubilous today, that are successful today, have survived the dot-com bubble, they've survived the financial crisis, and bringing that to now, the post-pandemic world. And these businesses that have emerged successful have had two things in common, right? Let me start by the first. While you want to be ambitious and go after the new business, acquiring new customers, the new millennials, you do not want to lose focus of your current customers. Your current customer base, your customer retention in such tough times needs to be the same, if not growing. And I believe there was a discussion here already, quoting Heineken from yesterday, that no customers forget how you made them feel, right? And if you continue to deliver that, your customer retention has a high probability to stay in place. Don't take my word for it, but I want to show you some stats on the effects of customer retention on businesses, right? 50% most successful selling to existing customers while acquiring new customers. And 82% of those customers are likely to repurchase with a valuable service interaction, right? And my personal favorite stat is the last one. The relationship between customer retention to profits is proportional. It's 1:5. Every 5% increase in customer retention translates to 25% in profit, right? Let that sink in. If you are currently facing the hardships in this region of uncertainty, you should never lose sight of your current customer base. How you made them feel cannot be compromised. It only needs to be enhanced, right? The other thing in common, if you want to be successful, while you're handing on or holding on to your customer retention, is the ability to transform while providing the same experience, while providing the same sort of service to your existing customer retention, enhancing on it, and trying to find new customers while you're going at it, right? And one thing, and the case that I'm here to make, is that while you are being agile and transforming your businesses, you need to have some sort of curiosity behind AI, right? And generative AI. I'd like to think that I speak for a living, right? I'm in sales. 9 hours of my workday, I'm involved 7 to 6 hours on meetings, and I talk with clients and I discuss. And very often, I have to explain things simply to people who don't get it. Sometimes I have to explain to my own parents what Gen AI really is. The most common question my dad always asks me is, there was Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and now there's Gen A. I mean, did you run out of words just starting from the top? So let me take a moment, make use of the opportunity that your speaker today, yours truly, is a technical person. Let me just give you a brief idea what generative AI really means, right? It's an algorithm that reads on data sets, big data sets, and gives you an output that's unique, but more importantly, bespoke, specific to you. And that's what makes it powerful. I think when we had the chatbots discussion earlier today, I was getting the temperature that not everyone's a fan, right? It's too transactional. Hey, here's your check-in number. We are sorry, your flight got canceled. Here's how you can get a refund. Where's the emotion, right? You probably had a birthday party to attend at the end of it. After the flight, you had a friend's wedding, right? And there is no emotion. It does nothing for you, right? What's the difference between that chatbot message versus a static message on a teleprompter? Zero. And that's what makes generative AI powerful. It's bespoke. And it will get empathetic. So there. How do we do that? And again, the leading businesses, the businesses that have been the early adopters of technology in general, not just AI, have lined up behind this technology. I'm not making the case that this makes it a good thing or bad thing, but all I'm telling you is it's something to be curious about. And these businesses, right? There's IKEA, who's invested in AI. There's Walmart. If Letitia agrees, we should have Philips here next time, because they are using AI as well, from my understanding in the morning. So all of these businesses are moving towards gearing behind, hedging their wagon on AI and Gen AI. Why is that? First, like the topic of discussion we had on table 5, it's the budget. The post-pandemic world, no one is giving you a budget anymore to like, hey, here you go out and spend this money, let's see what we come up with. The budgets are tight. Second, you want to be efficient. Your workforce, if there are heads of customer service, customer support here, would know these agents are now remote. The days of your workforce coming in, sitting shoulder to shoulder, the social tap on the shoulder, hey, I need some help, methodology remains, but it is slowly fading away in certain departments. We stand here today at the early November, looking at December, which is the holiday season, peak season for a lot of businesses. And this moment is rife with seasonal workforce. You add more agents at this time. Another challenge comes. How do you ensure that these seasonal agents are giving the same quality, making your customers feel the same, in line with your philosophy? Are they getting the right information? All of these issues and challenges can be tackled in different ways, and one of them is Gen AI. And I'm here to talk. Let's see if there are some results, right, behind this. So 70% higher self-service rates with Gen AI. Agent productivity, we spoke about this. I want to address one thought that we get when we speak about AI. I feel growingly, all of our minds collectively rushes to AI, chatbots, and customers. AI can be used in small bits and pieces, and it doesn't always have to be about end customers, right? The customer support value chain has many key stakeholders. I'll talk about that a little later. But AI and this technology can be used in any one of these silos. And that is what I'm talking about here, right? 50% increased productivity. This will in turn make your teams efficient. Your response times to your customers would get quicker, right? Talking about the feel of support would only get enhanced. Your NPS, I believe there was discussion around NPS in the morning. Your NPS and whatever key metrics that you use to get a temperature check of your business will improve. And in ODE, the final stat, right? Greater speed of execution and automation. These are all things that are important to stay on top, yet not compromise on your values. So what does an AI-powered support solution look like? And this is what I was talking about previously, right? An AI support solution doesn't always have to be just about the end customers. It could be for agents, right? Making it easier for them to find the answer. It could be for your system admins. By the way, on a side note, if there are any system admins here, I do want to tell you that you have my greatest sense of respect, right? We like to believe that agents are the first line of defense, but if that's the case and if they are your first warriors, then I would say system admins are almost those huge, bulky bodybuilding commanders who know the setup like the back of their hand. For them to know each and every automation rule, for them to know that if I put something live, these 5 or 10 workflows are not going to get affected, and maintain that level of flexibility in your system takes a certain sense of intelligence. And I think that doesn't come out enough. Coming back, and then finally, the last step on this value chain would be the leaders. A relationship between a platform, a tool, with that of a leader, I feel is very special. And that's because this persona, the leader persona, are probably the least users of the tool. They are not entering the tool day in and day out. They could be the budget holders, but they would need it on certain key moments. And when they need it, the tool absolutely has to work for them. And if the tool isn't giving them what they need during these crunch moments, the vitality of the project, the system in question, and the implementation all takes a hit. And that's why this particular persona can be a make or break. Now that we've established that, I'd like to talk to you about how we at Freshworks trying to bring you value to each of these personas, right? We want to deliver instant, personalized, and omni-channel resolutions. I think omni-channel was the catchphrase of 2018, 2019. The early adopters have also got onto that bandwagon, right? Let me give you one example. There's so many countries. I come from India, so I've lived and seen this example, where households did not have broadband. They did not know what the internet was. And this audience has shifted from never having experienced broadband or dial-up connection to directly having 5G on their mobile phones. They weren't early adapters, but they got onto it. Technology evolved, right? And made it imperative for everyone to start using it, right? I think that's what happened in more ways than one with omni-channel. There were people who were curious, those who did not want it, but eventually they found themselves taking part in it. We want to supercharge agent productivity. And like I said, making decision-making easier and scale rapidly for your admins, your system admins, and your leaders. How we do what we do? One of the key examples, again, the solutions that we offer are wide. There are a lot of facets that, and levers that we can push and pull. There was one, I almost regret it, there was a key word that all of us discussed today was summarizer. I think there was also in our tech talk, in our discussions on Table 5, there was the talk of how a summarizer is too important for an agent productivity. We do have a summarizer as well. The example that I pre-planned, and like I said, I regret, but I want to give to you is AI-generated variants. And I'm going to spend a couple of minutes here. There is a lot of nuance in the way your customers will ask questions. The nuance can come from their language, the region, the issue, their age, right? What is their age bracket? And depending on that, you cannot have a one-size-fits-all on a question. And that is where traditional chatbots failed. They expected the customers to ask a question in a certain semantic way. And we did not get the nuance, right? So with AI, that's the first problem to go away. You can ask your questions in different ways and formats in different languages. And here's where I would say at Freshworks, we are different, is we understand that this technology cannot be left loose. There needs to be human effort, intervention if needed. So as of today, we give these as suggestions, and your system admins can choose which of these suggestions would be a reality, right? So there is human effort on control. Moving on from the customer experience side, on agent experience, there is a use case that I think all of the B2C businesses find themselves a little in deep waters is with collaboration, right? You having one issue that your L1 agents are handling, and you understand this is a refund issue or a finance issue, and it hence needs to be rerouted to another department after asking 7 or 8 questions, right? Now, when this chat, this email, this conversation lands to the second department, you do not want to explain everything to them on a call. That takes a lot of time. That's not efficient. At the same time, it's imperative that this agent understands what the issue is about. And that cannot mean going through the entire conversation from the top. So one of the key ways that we are handling it is we have the summarizer, where the AI is smart enough to go through the entire conversation and leave an internal note, like this is what this challenge is about, this is what this conversation is about. And this L2 agent, L3 agent can come in, read this note, and understand what was happening here, right? It saves time, and it makes the system efficient. Coming under the umbrella of frugality, we want to do more with less. On the admin side, we have a prompt-based bot builder. Another issue with the traditional chatbots was you build something. First of all, the builder over here is nothing short of an artist. You need to know all the use cases, all the issues, all the bottlenecks that your customers are going to be facing, and then build a chatbot flow. And by the way, it should have lesser clicks, the explanation should be good, the language should be easy, and it should be proactive. The AI systems and the algorithms will be able to identify what are the issues with the bottlenecks, or what are the issues with the chatbot. Does it have too many clicks? Right? Is the language not really working? Is there any issue or question that the chatbot cannot answer today? And all this information is presented very easily to the system admins, who can then action it. And not just that, when a system admin is building a new bot flow, you do not want the system admin to begin from scratch. The bot flow or our AI will take a stab at the new bot flow, present it to the system admins, and ask them to enhance, and giving productivity another uplift. And finally, coming to the leader persona, which I said a relationship that is also very necessary, even though they're not day-to-day users, is the system needs to work for them when they want it. And the information that they need shouldn't be hard to find. You have a dedicated dashboard and analytics screen just for your leaders to tell them what are the frequency of the issues, what's the average quality score, where are your spikes, where are your dips, what's taking a nosedive, and what you can do to improve. This information traditionally would be on dashboards that would take your data analyst hours to create, a lot of hours to maintain. And if you have an edge case and you throw them a question, they would have to get back to you, taking another couple of days, right? That cannot be the way we are moving forward. Your data needs to work for you, not the other way around. Your technology needs to work for you, not the other way around. And our approach to AI is that we believe that this information is really segmented and bloated, right? It's been complex, it's fragmented, and it's also very, very expensive. And the expectations that we tackle in this business is everyone wants the system to be fast, right? We want it to be powerful and modern, and of course, enterprise grade, right? And what we'd like to deliver and what we like to say is choose a solution that's rapid. And by rapid, what I mean is have your smaller successes, your low-hanging fruits. You do not have to choose a system that takes 6 to 9 months to give you an output. That's already 6 months behind on your OKRs, right? Choose a system that can give you quick successes and that's easy to maintain. The overheads cannot justify means to the ends, right? You need to have a system that is cost-effective and finally powerful. Our AI credentials are these. We've got 335 customers using these features, 80 million bot conversations, and 800K resolutions just as of last month. The offerings that we have in our AI space are largely categorized in these three buckets. You've got the Freddy self-service, which is for your end customers, the Copilot, which is for your agents and system admins. So you remember the summarizer I spoke about, the bot builder I spoke about, that comes under Freddy Copilot, and Freddy Insights. And like the name says, it's a way to analyze your data easier. Lots of discussion around the responsibility around AI. The data that you send to your vendor should be questioned. You should have a conversation with your vendor on what data are you comfortable storing and what you aren't. And choose the vendor that's open to have this conversation for you, right? And have that dialogue. Let it not be a hurdle or a bottleneck, right? It is a boon only if you choose to make it one. The discussions need to be two-way, right? At Freshworks, we have our own AI intelligence and NLP platform. We encourage all of our customers, all of our prospects to come and speak to us on what data are they comfortable sharing and what data do they want to keep with themselves, and that is their decision to make. But that cannot be the hurdle in not making use of the features that can actually have such a promising effect. Well, on that note, I'd like to say thank you. I believe I have a few minutes more on the clock, so happy to take any questions. Thanks again.
Thank you, Shivang. That was awesome. Really insightful. Perfect on time, which is always easy for me. Questions? I'm opening this up.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation and the insightful things you shared. I was wondering, you speak to a lot of customers or prospects also. What are the most heard reasons why people are still doubting whether or not to take that step to use or to start experimenting with AI?
I think the most explicit reason is they do not really, the fear that what happens to the human element, does that get replaced, right? And that is the first challenge me and my team tackle, is to tell them that if that's your fear, that's fine. But so let's not put it in the customer element first. Let's put it in the operations element first, right? And that gets the conversation going towards where are the challenges in the operation, right? Within the operation space, then the conversation I see increasingly now is how do we actually implement it? Where does the rubber hit the road? Right? And that is where I feel the bottleneck conversations, the POV conversation comes into place. Let's start with the low-hanging fruit. What is the issue in your operation that you want to solve today? And that makes them think of 10 to 15 things. And then the challenge then comes to what are the top 3 things that you want to solve first? And what's your priority matrix? Does that answer? Yeah.
Who wants to be next? Frederick.
And it's nice to hear from someone who's at the forefront of this largely emerging, let's say, sector. I have just one question, and that's related to its application, because it's very wide. And I'm just thinking back to the story you told about your grandfather talking about Gen Z, Gen what is this? Now we're talking about generative AI, and we use the word AI synonymously as if it's the same thing. But of course, there is a huge difference. We've been doing it for a while. But when it comes to generative AI and the solutions that you presented, I know personally, one of the biggest sort of, I think, opportunity areas that I see is in analyzing customer feedback when it comes to identifying themes, opportunity areas, pain points, which is basic, I guess, clustering and organizing and summarizing, right? Which is within the core, I would say, capability of generative AI. Do you currently have any experience or use cases where you've unleashed, if you will, your bots on these large types of data sets to highlight opportunities?
Yeah, great question. The couple of categories that we're tackling that under. The first is the sentiment analysis, right? The sentiment analysis begins not just from the moment they've started a conversation, but to a customer's activities, let's say on your website, 7 clicks before they started chatting with you, right? Did they go through 4 or 5 solution articles and then they made a click on the chatbot, right? Or did they go through 3 or 4 products, found it out of stock, and then coming to you? And the sentiment analysis begins there by telling the agent that, all right, so-and-so person has gone through these articles. It's most likely that they're not happy because they did not find a solution. And here's how you can work on, making their enhancement or enhance their sentiment. That's the first way. Second is the algorithms can be used to be proactive, right? If someone has had some activity with you, shown some interest in some of your offerings, some of your product, and just gone off the radar, fallen off the grid, AI can use that sentiment and the intent to get in touch with them and make the experience bespoke again, not an experience like, hey, we noticed you visited the website, can we have a chat? No. In the way that we see that you were looking at this product a few days ago, seems like something changed, the product's back in stock now, would you now be interested, right? So there is a reactive element and a proactive element, but I would say that the reactive element has gotten a lot quicker. Right? The reactive element used to come in place on a very add salt to taste philosophy before, that only if there's an action, there's a response, but it needs to begin a lot before now. That answers it.
Thank you. Maybe one last question? Okay.
Yes, Shivang, great story. Maybe a short question. So if a customer approaches you for one of your solutions, what is maybe there is no clear answer, but what is the average engagement time for you to go in and go out again? Or maybe you don't go out again? I don't know.
Yeah. Great question again. My personal response would be the way the customer wants it. Right? If you are, I can only give you some characteristics, right? If you are an early adopter, it's highly likely for customers to roll out an RFP. And if you are really early in your interest, then you will have an RFI, right? From that stage, to go through a vendor selection of top 4 and 5 can be anywhere between 2 to 3 months. That's a quarter gone in my business cycle. Once you have your top 4 vendors, you've got your responses, you then begin with technical presentations. That is about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, if you want to hurry it up. In this phase, as a vendor, I would like to have some pre-meetings with you to ask you some questions. And that's why this process can be delayed by another week or so. So let's take it a month. And after that, you want to do a proof of value with maybe one or maximum two vendors, right? Where each vendor is trying to tell you, hey, just stick with us and do not do it with the second vendor, but that's another story. And that's going to take another 45 days. And the final part is the legal part and the conversation and responsibility. So I would say it's anywhere between 4 to 6 months, right? If you're an early adopter. If you know exactly what you're looking for, then there's no need for window shopping, right? Then you're going to the store, you know the bag that you want, you've checked whether it's in stock and you buy. So that could be anywhere between 30 to 45 days. So you skip the RFP, you know your vendors, you begin directly with technical presentations, you have one proof of value, and then you're done.
Thank you, Shivang. Great.